We are getting closer to the November midterm elections, and no bigger race Arkansas voters will decide on than the race for governor. There's some key issues voters will likely use to make their decision, like data centers, affordability, and the future of the state's Medicaid expansion program. I sat down with Arkansas Advocate Deputy Editor Antoinette Grajeda to hear her reporting on where the three campaigns stand on these key areas. Let's first start with an overview of the three gubernatorial candidates. Your reporting has really gotten into that. Give us just your thoughts on the candidates running for governor.
Sure. So there's three candidates running for governor. Of course, we have Republican Governor Sarah Huckabee Sanders, who's finishing up her first term. She's looking for a second term. On the Democratic side, we have State Senator Fred Love. He is term limited in the House, or well, in the Senate. He did House before. And then we have Libertarian Colt Shelby from Franklin County.
There's been a number of issues brought up, and I can't think of a single governor's race that has not been interesting, at least with some issues. And this year, two big issues. One, let's start with one of the first ones, Medicaid expansion. There has been a lot of talk about the denial by the federal government to allow Arkansas to expand. What is your reporting found with all three candidates on this particular issue?
Sure. On this particular issue, right now, the state is waiting to hear back from the government. They've asked for a 2-year extension to come up with something new that'll fit federal guidelines. So each of the candidates, of course, have different views on what this would look like if they were elected governor, because obviously this would be something they'll have to address, right? So Colt Shelby said that he would like to have Medicaid expansion extended indefinitely. He said, you know, it's vital to the more than 200 Arkansans who use the program for healthcare. If elected governor, he said he would also put together a team to look at ways to reform the program, right? So then Fred Love said that, you know, kicking people off of Medicaid would be the quickest way to close more maternity wards and rural hospitals. It's an issue the state's been having for a while. He noted that this is particularly important in these communities where Medicaid is the only source of payment for these patients. And then when we reached out to the governor's office, we didn't get a direct answer. The campaign manager directed us to the letter that the state sent to the government requesting those 2 additional years, because they said we need that time to make sure that we work with state officials, state lawmakers to come up with something new.
What other important issues besides those two have made the headlines that will be a part of this governor's race?
I think the gubernatorial candidates will have to discuss affordability in one shape or another. I think that just seems to be really important to folks. We have gas prices, grocery prices. Those are things that people see. Housing, affordable housing. Those are things that people see every day in their daily lives. I think sometimes with policy, people maybe don't understand the nuances or pay as close attention, but you know what you're paying when you go to the grocery store. You know what you're paying, you're filling up with gas. So I do think that there's probably going to be some conversation about that. Data centers also seems to be getting a lot of...
You think?
I'm sure you all have seen it as well, with a number of places, you know, where communities are being like, wait a minute, we're not sure we want this. We have these concerns. The candidates have touched on this a little bit. I went to the Arkansas Press Association convention in June, and there was a debate with gubernatorial candidates. Sanders was not present at that one, but the other two were, and data centers did come up. And Colt Shelby had said, you know, I will support whatever a community wants, right? Because some communities don't want it. They want a moratorium. I would support that. Other ones maybe want the economic development that comes with that. I would support that. Fred Love, on the other hand, said, you know, I would not be recruiting people to come here. I would support moratoriums. We need to take a minute and kind of see what this looks like.
Of course, there are a lot more issues that we talked about in that interview. We'd like to hear where the gubernatorial candidates stand on legalizing recreational marijuana. You can find that full interview and Antoinette's report on our website, 5newsonline.com. The full interview also can be found on our YouTube page.